Hey teachers, in this video I'm going to show you how to take the resources that Middle School Social Studies provided you for just day one, August 24th, and how you can put those into your Schoology courses. So I know we're all still trying to wrap our head around Schoology and kind of how to navigate it and add things to it. So hopefully this video, going step by step, will build your confidence and will help you with the rest of the days moving forward. So the first step is that we will want to make sure we've set up our week one folder in our Schoology course to include the date and the folders for Monday through Friday. So I'm going to show you just my course that I kind of is my experiment sandbox course. I'd suggest you do the same as far as following along with me, opening up your whatever course that you're kind of playing with and adding stuff into before you add it into your actual courses. So you'll notice that you have your welcome message here. That's kind of the standard that was given to us at that follow-up Schoology training. Of course, you would have this personalized. You look below, I already have my folders. So if you don't have these folders set up, the way you would do that is, again, I'm just on the main page of one of my courses. I'm going to go to Add Materials, Add Folder. And it's really important that I title this with the actual dates as opposed to week one, week two, because eventually students and parents are going to lose track of what that means. So I have week August 24th through 28th. Now this is kind of just like a placeholder folder. I'm going to click create. And then from there, you'll see it pop up on my page. It's probably at the bottom. You can always click and drag to put that in a different sequence. Now, I already have my other folder, but what I'd like to show you is how to add that Monday through Friday. So the way you can do that is a couple different ways. If you have this folder underneath, you can hover over with that green arrow and then click Add Folder. And maybe I want a different color for the actual days of the week. So I'm going to put Monday, August 24th. Now, in this folder, you might put a short description like, please view the links and complete the activities in this folder for Monday, August 24th, right? It's really important we communicate to kids that this stuff has to get done on this day, right? We know there's those attendance procedures that we're having to adhere to. So I'm going to click on Create. I would do the same process for Tuesday through Thursday. So now you'll see Mondays right there, and I can continue that process by adding new folders. Now that I have my folder structure set up, the next thing I need to do is access the week one teacher overview in that social studies teacher group. So the way I do that is in Schoology, I would go to this top section, groups. And if you're already in the middle school social studies teacher group, you'll be able to see this icon. If you don't see it, then you'll need to join the group. The way you do that is you would click on My Groups. On the right-hand side, a Manage Group section is going to appear, and you'll click on Join Group. And you have that join code on the screen right now that you can use in order to join that group. I'll give you a second to do so if you haven't already done that. So once you're in the middle school social studies teacher group, you're going to always see that update stream appear. Now the actual resources we provided you for the first 2 weeks of school are located right here where it says resources on the left. I'm going to click on that. Then you'll notice the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade folder. As far as the first week of school, there's no specific grade level content. It's all kind of community building, getting to know you. So just know that that first week is going to be the same no matter what grade level. I'm going to go ahead and click on 8th grade. You'll see week one, August 24th through 28th. I'm going to click there. The first link you'll see is a teacher overview document. I'm going to click on that. That is kind of like your big overview just for teachers, not for students, to kind of plan out your week. Now you'll notice the structure of this document. You have Monday through Friday. You have a section for that first 15 minutes of each class period's live interaction and what you might do during that time. And then you have the remaining 30 minutes of student pace, which would be posted in Schoology for them to do on their own. And that's what they would turn into you. So the first thing that you'll want to do is go to this live interaction slideshow and customize it. You'll notice when you click on it, it's going to force you to make your own copy. The purpose for that is for you to be able to personalize these slides before you share them out to students. So whenever I have a teacher force copy something, I always encourage you to rename it with your name, whatever else makes sense to you, so that way you can find this folder later and you don't have like a million copies of. So let me talk about what the purpose of these slides are. Okay, and they're kind of twofold. The first way to use these slides is during that first 15 minutes of live interaction, in which you want to be sharing your screen with your students, whether it be through a Zoom or a Google Meets. And this is kind of to like navigate through the activities that you have for them during those first 15 minutes. So the first thing you might want to think about is, well, geez, I'm going to have all these kids, joining my Zoom. You're going to have a lot going on, and you don't want to lose track of who's there, right? You want that record to be able to help you with attendance, so that because you might not necessarily have the time to do that within that first 15 minutes. So the idea that we're presenting to you, again, this is not a requirement, it's just a suggestion to help you, is to have your kids fill out a Google form. This very first slide is you're projecting your screen. And that way, as kids are coming in, they also have something to do. Sometimes it's kind of awkward if everyone's just kind of sitting there, right? So this gives them something to do. So you'll notice right here, there's a teacher note. It says, this link will force you to create your own copy of a sign-in Google form, and you can adjust it as needed, and then share your copy with the students. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing you're going to do is click on this link. It's going to force you to make your own copy. And just as before, I'm going to encourage you to rename this copy. And again, throughout this video, feel free to follow the steps that I'm doing and pause and play to your need. So what you'll see here is that the kids are basically just signing in, putting the date, their class period, how they're feeling today to have that social emotional check-in. And then if they have any questions for you, this might be a good place for that, for you to go back later and address it with them. So let's talk about where you would actually see the responses once your kids fill out this form. You could either click right here on responses, and once you have students fill it out, you could toggle individually through their responses. What I like to do is go to this spreadsheet option and click create a new spreadsheet. And all of the form data that your students put in would go on this spreadsheet. Now, the nice thing about this is, let's say you've got to take attendance for first period and you're thinking, oh gosh, what kids were in that live session? You could go to this class period column and you could do this drop-down menu and sort it by A to Z. And what that would do is sort all your first period, second period, and so forth. There's also a timestamp as well, so that might be helpful. And basically all of the fields that were in the form you will see at the top of this spreadsheet. Okay, I'm going to close that out for now. Once you have the spreadsheet the way that you want it, now you want to be able to put it into your slideshow so that your students can access it. Now, there's a couple ways we're going to do this. The first way, or no matter what way you use, you're going to click on this purple send button. Once you get there, it's important you click on this link picture, and you'll see a link down here. I can click the copy button. And the first thing that I want to do is turn this into a QR code, and I'll show you why. So in order to get to a QR code, I'm going to click a new tab in my browser. And in Google, I'm just going to type in QR code generator. Okay, there's a bajillion of them out there. I like to use this one that says the QRcodegenerator.com. I need to make sure I click URL. That means I have a link that I want to turn into a QR code. I'm going to right click and paste it. That's my link from my Google form I created. And I press enter, and it's going to change that QR code. I'm going to right click and copy it. Now what I'm going to do is go back into my live interaction slideshow. I can now take out this yellow box, and I can now paste the QR code. What that means is, as my kids are entering my Google Meets or my Zoom, I can be sharing my screen with this slideshow, and the kids can fill out that that sign-in sheet Google form. Now, it could be that my kids don't have another device to scan that code, so maybe I also want to share the link. Now, what I would do to save yourself some trouble is to go back into your form. You already have that link. I'd copy it. Go back into your slideshow in that teacher notes section and type sign-in sheet link and paste it there. Potentially what you could do is when you're in the Zoom with your kids, you could take this link and paste it into the chat feature in whatever conference you're working in, and then your students can simply click on that link to fill out the same sheet. So both things take them to the same place, but the point is that you have a record that they were there, and it's kind of like their warm-up. It's a good routine to set them up with each day. Now you could use that same Google form perhaps for Monday through Friday, and then maybe change it up for the next week by going to, like, let's say I want to make this for week 2, I could always make a copy and then just change some of those fields to make sense. Okay. Now, there are some other things on this live slideshow that I'm going to want to edit before I make this available to my students. So you'll notice that there's expectations. These would be expectations that we use for video conferencing, right? They're going to be a little bit different for face-to-face. So this is really just the expectations for when they're in that Zoom or Google Meets. It's also a good idea, just like you would in the classroom, to have your agenda for your time together. That would be during the live version what you're doing, and then on their own, meaning what they're actually turning into you asynchronously. You'll notice there's an icebreaker here. Slide 5 is going to require you to put in some information about yourself through pictures so your kids can get to know you that first day. There's some emojis you can utilize for the previous slide. There's some contact information that you could put in. The next slide you'll see is to take some time to tour them through your Schoology course, meaning going to my course and showing them, hey, here's the folders. Under each folder, you'll see Monday through Friday. Under Monday, you'll see our assignments, just for them to kind of understand how to navigate your course. Then the last step in this slideshow will take them to the assignment for the day. Now, you are going to notice on the last page, there's a link to a first day survey. This is also a Google form, kind of like before, in which you will need to personalize. Okay, so you'll notice when we click on this link, it's going to force us to make a copy. Now, this is a different Google form. This is a first day student survey for kids to fill out for you to learn more about them. Now, there's going to be a lot of questions on this, so please feel free to edit it to make sense for you. There's also an option here to create a teacher introduction video. So maybe you're in your classroom and you want to like show them around, or you want to walk outside the school building and talk to them, whatever it is, keep it short, keep it sweet. If you use Screencastify or maybe just your phone, whatever the case is, if you want to add the video, you can click right here to add video. And you'll notice that it's going to have you do it on YouTube. So whatever it is that you use, you want the YouTube URL if that's something you want. Once you have your first day survey the way you want it, we then need to make this available to your students. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to go back into Schoology. Oh, and I noticed I did not rename this survey. So I'm going to do that with my name. It's easier for me to find it later, right, if I do that. Now, what I need to do is get that send link again for my kids. So I'm going to click send. I'm going to click that link icon and copy this link. Now, I don't need to do a QR code really like I did last time. Rather, this link is something that I'm going to now put on Schoology. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to go into my Schoology course. I'm going to go into my Sandbox course, because once I have everything the way I want it in my Sandbox course, I can then go and copy my stuff over to my other courses. So I'm going to scroll down to that first week. Then I'm going to go into my Monday folder. And I want to give my students access to that Google form for them to fill out for their assignment for the day. Now, Google Forms is a little funky on Schoology, so this is how you'll have to do it. You'll have to go to Add Materials, and you want to add a File Link External Tool. It's really just a link. So I'll click on this link right here. Remember, we copied the link from this Google form. So what we're going to do here is paste it. And I'm going to title it First Day Survey. And I'm going to put in all caps, please fill out on the first day of school. I really want to tell my kids that, hey, this is your assignment for the day, right? You don't have all week to do this. We're really going to have to shift their mindset from what spring 2020 looked like. So from here, I can keep on this display in Schoology, and I'll show you what that looks like. It'll make it to where they can actually see the Google form without leaving Schoology. So I'm going to click Add. It might take a minute to load. I've noticed with Schoology, sometimes we just have to be patient, and it's hard because there's so much going on. So now I want to see what this is going to look like. So when the students will click on it, you'll notice the Google form is actually kind of embedded into here, which is kind of nice. Okay. Now, just as a reminder, once my students fill in this first day survey, I wouldn't see those responses in Schoology. I have to go back into my Google form and go to that responses tab and either kind of scroll through the responses right here or go to that create a spreadsheet, and I'd be able to see all of those fields in a spreadsheet. I could sort it by class period or whatever else makes sense for your purposes. So at this point, we edited that first day survey and put it into our Schoology course. So the next thing that we'll want to do, and this is optional, is to put your live slides into your Schoology course. So those live slides were the ones with that icebreaker that we talked about using within that first 15 minutes. But it's possible that you also want these slides to be available to your students who were in your live session for them to refer back to. Or maybe you also want your students that didn't attend the session to kind of be able to see, oh, here's what they did, and maybe that will encourage them to join in next time. So before we make these slides available to students, we want to take out all those teacher notes, right? This was a link to the first day survey. We already took care of that and put it into Schoology, but I might want to keep this message here on your own first day survey. Maybe put a note here about going to Schoology and go to that assignment perhaps. But once I have this the way I want it, I want to first make sure that I change the sharing settings. So see how I'm hovering over share and it says private only to me? I want to fix that. So I'll click on share. I'll see here that I want to change the link to Northside ISD. And I notice it says everyone can view. And that's what I want. So now I'm going to click done. I have that the way that I want it. I'm going to go back into my Schoology course, and I want to add those live slides that we were just looking at into my course. Here's how you're going to do that. It's a little bit different than the link. I'm still in my Monday folder, but I'm going to go to add materials. And instead of a link, I'm going to add a page right here. All right, I'll call this page Live Slides. Oops, I'm still in caps. Live Slides, August 24th. I'm going to maybe do some instructions like, please look through these slides, then complete the first day survey for today's assignment. As much instructions as I can give, bold them, underline them, make them bigger, whatever it is. Now, I want to embed those slides at this point into this page. The way I do that is I hover over Insert Content, I click on it, I go to this Google Drive resource app because those slides live in my Google Drive. And from here, I'm going to see all this stuff pop up. Now, luckily, that's the first thing that popped up, so I can easily click on it. But another trick I've learned is, let's say I can't find it, I'm going to copy this title. I'm going to go back into that Schoology, click on Search Google Drive and paste it. And then you'll notice it'll pop right up. I have a billion of them because I've been working on this throughout the day, but I'm going to go ahead and check mark the one that I want. Then I'll click Import and Import Embed. It's really important that you do Import Embed. It'll take a second for it to load. Don't freak out when you see this yellow box of doom. It's not doom. You'll see in a second we'll fix it. I'm going to scroll down, hover over, see how it says display a new page. I'm going to actually click on display inline, and I'll show you what that'll do in a second. We're going to click on create. If you don't like it, you could always go back and edit your formatting of your directions or anything like that. But when we do that embed inline, the really nice thing is that it shows those slides directly. Now, what my students can do then at this point is click this next button, which is something you'll probably have to show them how to do, right? Because they might not naturally do that. So this is a good coaching piece. Maybe I put that in my instructions. Please scroll through 8 slides or however many slides I have. And so then my students can go through the slideshow as if they were there, but then they can also receive whatever instructions there was for that day. All right, they could go through your getting to know you and so forth. Now you'll also notice I might want to change the sequencing of this, right? Because I want them to see those live slides first. So if I click on this image of the page here, I can just move it to the top, and then my kids would see the survey below. Now, the last thing I'd want to do for my students before I kind of publish it to them, for them to see everything in Schoology, is to insert directions. Now, you can most certainly use Screencastify to make a video of yourself showing your students those instructions. I'm going to include a video from Jean Yang that's going to show you how to use Screencastify in this Google slide deck after you watch this video. However, whatever way you do it, the way you could post it in Schoology is I'm still in my Monday folder, as you can see right here, and I could go to add materials. Maybe I want to add another page. A page is just a really nice way to kind of make things pop for students, and I could tell them directions for Monday, and I could insert content here. And instead of going to Google Drive, my screencast video I made would have to be published to YouTube. And then I would have to actually get the title of my YouTube video. So let's say I upload to YouTube, I would have to make it public, is really important. And then I would type in the title of that video and then insert it that way. Okay, so just like you did with the insert content before, it's a good idea to change this to display in line. And what that'll do is make the video appear to students on that page. Now, I don't have a video there, but if I did, I would see it down here, directions for Monday, and again, I can drag that to the top. So then what my students would see when they open up this Monday folder, and I'll go back to week 1 so you can kind of walk backwards to see what they would see. When my students go to week 1, they would see Monday. They would see the directions, and I would have that video there. They would see my slides, if I chose to put that there, and then they would see the survey that they can click on and then fill out. Now, let's say you don't want to do video directions, so we can go and edit this directions for Monday, and maybe you just want to type in directions like step 1, do this, step 2, do this, and so forth. I would save the changes, and then the students would just see those steps. So you can see that you could have video directions or written directions, and the way we did that is by going add materials and inserting a page. Okay, so it's not an assignment, it's just something that they're supposed to read. So we hope this video was helpful for you to navigate how to set up your Monday folder. We do want you to know that we are here for you guys. We're in this together. We're learning Schoology as well. So if you need help, please don't hesitate to contact your middle school social studies IST, your campus tech coach, or your campus Schoology support teacher for help. Thank you for everything that you do for students.